All right, are we all connected? So those of you who went into the tunnel, you'll never again read anything about Hezekiah's digging of projects. I mean, that whole project, the same, because now you know it's not really not just a Narnia story. It actually happened. Miraculously, it actually succeeded. We'll never quite know how it succeeded. The only thing we can think is that maybe there was a crack in the rock from the area of the spring to where he dug the pool, and that they saw water come out of there and they just widened it. That's the only thing we can think, but we don't know. Now, until a couple months ago, you see a wall there. I mean, it looks like gunk with a wall on top. Until a couple months ago, that continued right to the end of the wooden deck here. It was just beyond where you see, just before where you see those white sand bags. That's where you can see some of the tiles at the bottom of the pool. We think at the bottom of the pool, we may still find out that the pool was actually deeper, but these were all stairs that just led to the bottom. And all this was covered with trees. It was at the height of the trees over there. We couldn't dig there because the Greek Orthodox Church that owned that plot would not let us. But we finally bought it from them, and now we're digging it. And hopefully within a year or two, they'll have the whole pool available. Now, that's the way it was at the time of Hezekiah. It was for drinking. From the Roman period, the late Roman period, when Herod builds a temple and expands courts around it and makes it really impressive in order to host hundreds of thousands, he also needs to provide water up there. So he's got an aqueduct that brings huge amounts of water to the whole top part of the city. So he doesn't need the pool of Siloam necessarily just for drinking. So from that, but he does have lots of people coming up to the temple. They all need to be ritually bathed. So from his point on, the pool of Siloam is used as a ritual bathing pool. Hezekiah's tunnel, which is continues just behind where John is currently standing. And if you look in a moment, you'll see Hezekiah's tunnel continues right there with water. People who need to bathe, bathe in the pool of Siloam. People who want to drink, drink from Hezekiah's tunnel, which does not have people bathing in it or walking through it. It's literally for drinking water. And for replacing water in the pool of Siloam, which obviously is very convenient because the water just comes naturally. Now, this is where in the Second Temple period, if you remember, there was a blind man that asked Jesus to help him. Jesus spits on the ground, makes some mud, puts it in his eyes and says, go and wash in the pool of Siloam. And so he comes to the pool over here, and this is how the aesthetics would have been at his time. So this is after Herod. You know, for Herod, the steps carved in the rock are not enough, so he tiled the steps, had them a little bit more organized. Now, in the end, if you look behind you, you'll see the cliff in that direction, the cliff of the bottom of David's city coming right down. This area was outside of the city until the time of Hezekiah. The walls of the city were above the cliff. Now, when Hezekiah rebels against the Assyrians, he does two things, like we said. One is set the two teams to dig, and the other one is to build a wall all around this area and all the way up the western hill in order to protect the Israelite refugees who have set up, think of it as a refugee camp on that western hill, so that both populations, his people from the original city of Jerusalem and people from the western hill, can come to this area, which is going to be protected by the original wall and the second wall that goes all the way around the western hill. And there's a gate here. 100 years after the time of Hezekiah, the Babylonians, led by Nebuchadnezzar, are now laying siege on the city of Jerusalem, and eventually they break into the city. And the Bible tells you that when Zedekiah understood that all is lost and they have taken the city, him and his sons attempt to escape. They leave the palace at the top of the city, go down towards the pool of Siloam, and attempt to escape through the gate between the two walls. So now you understand which two walls it's talking about: the original wall of Jerusalem that existed until then, and the new wall that Hezekiah had built 100 years previously. And if you remember, the Assyrians they don't manage to escape. The Babylonians, not the Assyrians, the Babylonians do catch them. Any questions so far? Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it. What got their attention that this was the pool?
What's that?
How did they? What finding made them start digging here? Sorry if I missed it.
You mean us?
Yes.
Well, where you came out of the tunnel, there was a little bit of a wider part there as you emerged into the daylight. Until about 25 years ago, that was considered the pool of Siloam because that's the only part that we knew. It made no sense that the pool of Siloam is so small. You know, it was more, in that case, it's more like a small cistern or something like that. It's not even deep enough to be a cistern, but it didn't make sense. The City of David Foundation has been digging everywhere around here trying to find original stuff, and about 20 years ago, something like that, they hit this area, and then they found the beginning of the steps, and then they dug down, but all we had was the steps and the corner where the turns. It looks, and then just in the last couple of months we were able to dig down through what used to be the Greek Orthodox property, and it looks like they're going to find out that this was not the edge of the pool, that little wall there where you see the text kept turning. It looks like the edge of the pool is further back. You can see what looks like a wall going down is actually the ancient building brick. So it looks like Hezekiah's thing went all the way down here, but I can't say with any authorities. This is all very new. It'll take a few years before, first of all, it's dug out, studied, and then the information released, and then hopefully we'll have some better information. Yeah. Okay, so for a while you had to duck for a few minutes, and then suddenly at the end it goes very, very high. What's all that about? Two possibilities. One of them is that they started digging too high, and then they realized, wait, we want the water to come down to the pool, we're going to have to dig way lower in order for it to come down with gravity, because look how the cliffs here drop. The other thing they've discovered in recent years, and apparently this is definite information, that they had a whole system of regulating the water coming into